Hey guys, welcome back to my audiobook channel, and we are just going to be reading a random book. Honestly, I haven't even chosen one. I'm just going to pick one from here because this is my little kid zone area. And to bring it up, I have this that I made. I just painted it. I didn't chisel or anything. But I was thinking, what do you guys think of the name Kid Zone Audiobooks? I don't know. It was so random. I saw it and I was just like just right now. Well, I made it a few months ago, but I was looking at it and I was just like, what if I named it Kid Zone Audiobooks? Which it doesn't have a huge wow, that's really catchy. But for now, I'll just stick with I think it's a Nomad's Journey audiobooks because you're taking a journey whenever you read. But maybe I'll name my kid playlist, Kid Zone, or whatever. So, I'm seriously, if I grab a series, probably not gonna read it right now. But so, I don't even know where any of these are. What is this one? Oh, okay. I haven't read this one in a long time. Okay, but this is Clarice Bean. Yes, Clarice Bean spells trouble. So I think it's been 5 years since I've read this, 5 or 6. But I'm actually kind of excited now. That was kind of a fun way to do it. Tell me if you guys want me to just grab a random book off the shelf, or if you have ideas. That's cool too. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves, and then I have a whole second one over there. But anyway, we did move, so that's exciting. This is probably what I'll be doing it now, in our little, literally a corner. So maybe just kids corner. I don't know. Corner spelled with a K. Anyway, things I can't explain. Why isn't you spelled you? Like that. You may want to know why I did what I did. But if you were me, you would understand that sometimes I just don't know why I do things. So it's hard to explain. I just get this urge to do something, and I do it. And before I know it, I'm in very big trouble. My mom is always telling me I must think before I open my mouth, and then perhaps life would be a lot easier. She is probably right, but try telling my brain that. It doesn't think as fast as me. Another thing that is difficult to explain is, why isn't you spelled you, and why is why? And why isn't spelled why? Spelling. Who knows where it all came from and why it has to be so difficult? Whoever thought it up must be a very strange person. You see, it all started with a spelling bee that my teacher, Miss Wilburton, organized. It's to see who is the best out of all the spellers. I'm not a very good speller. My mind just does not have the room in it to remember spellings. It isn't my fault. It really isn't. Think of all the other things in your whole life that you want to remember, like that joke my brother Kurt told me once about the cow on the telephone, and the one time that we went on vacation, it rained like mad and we all got soaked through our underwear, including everyone. So spellings are not that important to me compared to these other things, which are. Anyway, what I'm telling you is, spelling causes trouble. For example, the things that everyone said I did, the thing that got me in very big trouble, mainly happened because of spelling. Someone who is a good speller but is nonstop trouble is Carl Renberry. Carl Renberry is this boy in my class. You have probably heard of him. Most people have. He gets up to no good, but I don't think it's his fault really. He just got this singy thing in him. He can't control it, and sometimes he lets his guinea pigs out on purpose. I like Colonel Renberry. At first I didn't, and then I got to know him, and then I did. But he's the naughtiest person in school, and the problem with knowing the naughtiest person is then that people think that you are just as bad. Why even try to be good? This is something I have been finding out for myself at home. My young brother, Meinl, has the knack of learning from my mistakes and avoiding trouble. This mainly works by getting me into trouble. I feel like I'm turning into Carl Runberry. I'm in non-stop trouble these days, which isn't fair, of course. What happens is mine always goes something like, Mom, Clarice just really pinched me on the elbow. And of course, this is utterly not true. And if it is, it was for a very good reason. And Mom says, I'm too busy and I have too big of a headache to be dealing with two unpleasant children. Either continue this argument on another planet or keep out of each other's way. She isn't always like this, just when she has had it up to here, which lately she has. My dad is different. He likes to sort things out. He's good at that. It's part of his job and he has to do it every day at work. Dad will not have squabbling. Absolutely not. He says, you can agree to disagree by all means. You can discuss it or you can change the subject. But what my dad says you may not do is have two squealy voices driving him utterly around the bend. Someone who is easily driven around the bend is my older sister, Marcy. She spends most all of her time being crabby, and when she isn't being crabby, she's in the bathroom talking on the phone. My brother Kurt is the oldest out of all of us, and he is mainly in his room not talking to anybody. So now, if you still don't understand why it's hard for someone like me to avoid trouble, you should try having Miss Wilburton as your teacher, because if you are in Miss Wilburton's class, your name, Clarice Bean, you might as well face it. Trouble is your middle name. It's just how the cookie gets crumbled. And I tell you, no one has ever gotten in more trouble in Miss Wilburton's class than I did last spring. Okay, that was the first chapter done. Actually, it's like the introduction. I'm going to put up my hair. Sorry. And this is by Lauren Child, by the way. Clarice Bean Spells Trouble by Lauren Child. Let me just see. I think it'll be fine. Okay, chapter 1, because that was just like the intro. Who decides what's important and what isn't? Tuesday is not my favorite day because there is testing to see how smart everyone is, and how can you see that in a test? Amen. That's the thing about school. They might not only test you for one thing, for example, math. Oh, that's the thing about school. They might only test you for one thing. For example, math, or spelling type things, or punctuation thingamabobs. And they will not see that maybe you will know absolutely every episode of the Ruby Redford series by heart, and that you can tell them how Ruby managed to jump out of the moving helicopter without twisting an ankle, which is a very hard thing to do. And maybe you will know how to cleverly mend your hem with a stapler, or stand on your actual head, while drawing a dog in a ballpoint pen, or teach your dog how to draw with a ballpoint pen while he stands on your head. But they do not test you for these things because the people who come up with the testing do not think it is important. But would you rather know someone who knows how to jump out of a moving helicopter without getting a twisted ankle, or someone who can spell grapefruit? That's a good question. I would like to know someone who knows how to get a green marker out of a white carpet. Until I do, Betty says, put a chair on it. I just hope my mom doesn't move the chairs before I discover the answer. That's hilarious. Dog and myth. Anyway, testing is my worst. Whereas someone like Grace Grappello, for actual example, is good in a test situation. Because ask her what 3.3 divided by 2.4 is, and she will get a big check mark, and I will get a headache. Anyway, And if you want, you guys can look that up, what it actually is. Anyway, there we are doing this testing thing, and the room is all quiet, and I can just hear the clock ticking really slowly. But strangely, every minute I look up, it's 10 minutes later and time is running out. And I can hear Robert Granger breathing. That's what he does. He sits behind me and breathes. It drives me utterly crazy. And I turn around and go, "Stop breathing, will you?" And he says, "Clarice Bean, of course I cannot stop breathing because I would be dead, and how would I do like that?" I decide not to answer his question because my mom has taught me if you can't think of anything nice to say, then sometimes it is better to say nothing at all. You see, I'm trying really hard to keep it zipped in class, and I don't even utter a single word when I hear Grace Garoppolo telling Cindy Fisher that I am a dub brain because I spell photo with an F, which is how you spell it in Greek. Photos. I believe. Mrs. Wilburton didn't tell her off even. She just said, "Clarice Bean, your spelling leaves a lot to be desired." Anyway, at the end, when time is up, I hand in my test and Miss Wilburton says, "Oh, dearie dear. It looks as if a spider has been dipped in ink and struggled across the page. I wish someone would dip her in ink." Then she says, "I have some exciting news. I have arranged for the whole school to take part in a spelling bee." Okay, if you don't want to look it up, it's at the bottom of the page. Just click on this side. So it's just right there. So, if you couldn't see, 3.3 divided by 2.4 is equal to 1.375. Good for you if you got that. Spelling bee. Bee. As in spelling bee means lots of people all working on the same thing at once, like bees all making honey together. There's like the little star asterisk things that tell you more. It's just a fancy way of saying test. But you have to stand there in front of the whole school and spell words out loud on the spot without writing them down. It is interesting for Miss Wilburton giving a spelling test as well. It is interesting that for Miss Wilburton, giving a spelling test is the most fun she can ever have, and for me is a very good reason to tell Mrs. Mars, the school secretary, that I have a terrible case of a tummy upset, and I need to go home as soon as possible. On the double, don't even bother to call my mom. Anyway, I have been wondering, who is the person who gets to decide what is important? Because I wish it was me. In the playground, Carl Renberry is throwing water balloons at Toby Hockling. He gets Grace Grappello by accident, and she goes off to tell. She's mad because she's gotten her rain jacket all wet, even though this is what rain jackets are for. But that's Grace Grappello for you. She's someone who I don't get along with because she is a know-it-all and a meanie. And her favorite thing is to tell on people. I'm trying really hard not to get in her way because I don't want to get in a tussle with Miss Wilburton. And the thing is, Miss Wilburton always believes Grace and not me. But after school, I'm collecting my coat from my pig, and so is Carl, and he's telling me a joke about a pig who crosses the road. And before he can tell the last bit of it, the actual funny bit, Miss Wilburton walks by and says, "Now move along, you two, before you get into mischief." You see, Carl gets into trouble even when he's being well behaved. This is one of the side effects of bad behavior. I say, "We were just getting our coats, Miss Wilburton." And she says, "No answering back, thank you very much." I say, "Excuse me for breathing," but I say it really, really quietly. I go home in my very downcast-ish mood, and even my older brother, Kurt, says, "What's the matter with you?" Which is unusual because usually he doesn't notice other people's gloom. He is too busy feeling gloom himself. When I ask Mom why he's so cheerful, she says, he's got himself this weekend job at Eggplant, and it has him in a really good mood. Eggplant is the local vegetarian shop. Kurt himself is a vegetarian, so he feels happy being surrounded by vegetables all day. The only thing that can cheer me up is the Ruby Redford is on TV tonight. I'm utterly crazy about Ruby Redford books, as you may know, but unfortunately I'm still waiting for Patricia F. Maple and Stacy to write a new one, since I've read all the others at least maybe 3 times. What's lucky is, and maybe you didn't know this, but they are now televised for the TV and they're on twice a week. There are loads of episodes. Loads. I just realized, I think they're all British. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I bet your Laurel Child is British. Pretty sure this is British, just saying, because usually British people say loads. So I'm not too off with the teacher. They're maybe just an American family that moved to England, okay? But it is not a new thing, the TV series. Mom says it was on in her day and that they were made years ago, which is why the fashion looks a bit out of fashion. They were re-showing it because Patricia F. Mapleman has started writing books again, and I'm sure they will be as popular as ever. I didn't know all this information, but Betty looked it up on the Ruby Redford website and told me. The new books will be quite different from the old ones, and, I should think, more modern. Betty said, Did you know she started writing the Ruby Redford books way back, years and years ago in 1972, which was before most people were born. The most exciting thing is that they were going to make Ruby Redford into a movie made by Hollywood. Ruby is now 13 and has this butler named Hitch, who wears a suit and is in the known about all of her secret agent work. He is very handsome and good looking. My mom is quite sweet on him. Definitely a British thing to say. Ruby has a best friend named Clancy Crew, who is a boy who is very clever and also funny. They ride around together on bikes. Me and Betty know all the Ruby phrases she says things like, give me a break, bozo, and do you actually have... Oh, wait. Give me a break, bozo, and do you actually have a brain? You would be amazed if you know about Ruby Redford, because the Hollywood people would have to do all these gadgets and stuff. And I'm not sure how they will make them. How do you make a walkie-talkie watch and roller skates that know which direction to go if you say, follow that car? And a purple helicopter that is bigger on the inside than on the outside. The Ruby in the movie will be different from the one on the TV because the TV Ruby is now almost at least 40 years old, if not more. She's named Jodie O'Neill and she's utterly brilliant, even though she has blonde hair when she's meant to have brown. I bet Jodie O'Neill never had to worry about being good in a spelling bee. Yeah, I'm sure we all wish that we were actors and actresses sometimes. I'm lying in bed thinking about all this, and I'm staring at my poster Dad got me. It is of a rhinoceros, and it says rhinoceros on it. I stare at the poster every night, and it occurs to me now that the strange word on the word rhinoceros is how strange the word rhinoceros is. And how odd it is that it has an H in it when you wouldn't expect it to. You can't hear it in the word or anything. I fall asleep and dream that a rhinoceros charges into our school and eats Miss Wilburton. And he takes over the teaching and he turns out to be really good at math. Strange what you think of when you aren't thinking about anything. Rhinoceros. Okay, thanks for joining me. We did 20 pages. That was exciting. So thank you guys for watching. I think it was 20 pages. Start on page 5. So we did like 16, but I talked for quite a little bit before. So I'm going to try not to talk too much in the beginning, but it's just really fun to talk to you guys. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I don't know, anything, put them down below. And maybe give me some names for my channel. Tell me like what you want to read. I can, if you guys want, I will literally just make a video about what I have here on my shelf. But anyway, bye for now, guys. Thanks for watching.